What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy, Chaos here, and I'm continuing to rank my favorite Pokemon of each type. This list comes from my experiences playing Pokemon over the past several years. The order of this series is based on my least favorite type, and it goes to my most favorite type, and I am covering all of the 18 types. A dual-type Pokemon has the possibility to be considered for both types it has, because if I consider a Pokemon one of my favorite, it should be able to be both on each list. So, with all that being said, sit back and relax as we dive into the ground type. Number 10, Playdoh. Playdoh was always an odd choice, but it found a way onto this list somehow. I blame my love of Colosseum and XD for this Pokemon being here, in which you can get a Shadow Belltoy near the beginning of the game in XD. I used it a few times, but I ended up not using it for some time until Sword and Shield came out. Playdoh then became something I picked up in lower tier and competitive, and it's a solid hazard setter and remover, and I had a great time just using it. And all those experiences carried over into Sword and Shield, where I eventually used it on my first team that I built, and I finally got to shiny hunt it. It's just a cool Pokemon and has a pretty solid typing, which makes me really like it. Number 9, Rydon. Rydon was just another rock ground type to me until recently. I've had Rydon in some competitive scenes, and I really like the great use it makes of Eviolite. I honestly prefer it to Rhyperior, even saying in a video, in previous goings, that Giovanni would never evolve his Rydon into Rhyperior because he would see its value with Eviolite over using it and evolving it into Rhyperior. But that was some time ago, so you can see that I've started to like Rydon relatively recently into my YouTube videos and career. I've also enjoyed using Rydon in Let's Go. It was on my first team playing through the game because I hadn't used it before, and I had a great time using it as the powerhouse of my playthrough in my favorite region. Number 8, Quagsire. I like derpy Pokemon. What can I say? I also like water ground type, so of course Quagsire is going to be on this list. Quagsire is a lovable derpy Pokemon, and I just can't help but like this Pokemon. It became my designated max raid Pokemon when Sword and Shield came out, and I've used it ever since. Quagsire is not a stranger to my use, as I typically ran Quagsire in Pokemon Colosseum. I also use Quagsire on the Draft League team as a defensive mon, and generally enjoyed using it. Quagsire has a lot of usability, and I think many people would sleep on this Pokemon, and they probably would enjoy it if they actually used it for once. Number 7, Flagonit. It's everybody's favorite bug dragon type, except not, it's actually ground, that's why it's on this list and not on the bug list. I've always liked the design of Flagonit. It's one of my favorite Pokemon designs in general. I'm not a big fan of its evolutionary line, which kind of hinders this Pokemon a bit for me. And I can't really remember using Flagonit on a team, because there are many better options out there, but one day I will finally get to use Flagonit and have a blast using it. Number 6, Garchomp. Okay, so I really didn't like this thing when I first encountered it while battling Cynthia, but Garchomp is such a cool and powerful Pokemon that it's grown on me over the years. Garchomp has so many movesets in Generation 7 where I began to get into competitive battling, and it used a lot of things on many of my teams because it was built in a variety of different ways. I never have used Garchomp really in a playthrough, so that's something I would like to do in a main series playthrough. I've used it in some of my, spin-off kind of content, but I've never really used one in a playthrough, which I'd like to do at some point in time. I've used Garchomp in the past to great success, and I always get nervous when I have to face one because it's just terrifying. Honestly, it's terrifying. I've had great experiences using Garchomp in some of these other spin-off games that I've mentioned, and that has just honestly made it one of my favorites. Number 5, Landorus Therian. I specify Therian because I always use the Therian form when using Landorus. Try to say that 12 times fast. Affectionately named Calrissian after Lando Calrissian from Star Wars, Lando T led my team to great success when I first used it. It probably is the Pokemon that has had the most influence on my overall enjoyment of the competitive scene. I liked its versatility as a defensive pivot or just as a powerful sweeper. Lando T was a staple of my Sand team as well as a powerful weapon in the first season of the Premier Draft League, although it wasn't called that back then. I've had so many good memories with Lando Calrissian, and I thank it for forging my love of competitive and getting me honestly to the place I am today with my content. So thanks, buddy. Number 4, Excadrill. Another competitive Pokemon that functioned on Lando's Sand team was Excadrill. Ground Steel was a very cool typing to me, but I just wasn't a big fan of how slow Steelix was. Excadrill changed all of that in Generation 5, and not only did it become one of my favorites, it also made me enjoy the Ground Steels and just as types, and I've enjoyed them, and they're some of my favorite types now. I like seeing it pair with Tyranitar just to obliterate the opposition, because it's fun. Excadrill has great abilities also depending on what situation you need, allowing it to be customized based on the trainer's needs, which is one of my favorite things about Pokemon, allowing it to be customizable to the person who is using it. I also liked how it knew Iris wasn't a good character and refused to fight for her half the time in the anime. Good job, Excadrill. Number 3, Nidoking. I'm not a big fan of stone evolutions and not getting any level up moves after you evolve the Pokemon via stone, but Nidoking has made great use of several TMs and several of my playthroughs that I just have to like it. I'm a big fan of using one of the Nidos in any Kanto playthrough because they have such great utility. They're just the best ground type in Kanto, and their obtainability early on has made me really enjoy using both of them. Yeah, I prefer Nidoking to Nidoqueen, and I think this list really showcases just how much of a difference there is between Nidoking and Nidoqueen for me, as Nidoking is number 3 on this list, and Nidoqueen wasn't even mentioned. It's a great contrast to the Poison type list, which they both feature on, so go check that out if you haven't seen it already. A lot of the reasons I like Nidoqueen also apply to Nidoking. However, I've always preferred the damage outputs to the defenses. I think Nidoking has a better shiny, and I think it's more usable than Nidoqueen in most of the situations it comes across. And Nidoking has appeared on several of my teams, often was my way to beat Brock early on, because I chose Charmander. The move pool and the good stats of Nidoking have always made me enjoy using this Pokemon. It also has sheer force to power through opponents, and it has utility for pretty much every situation, having a variety of move pool, which makes it a fun Pokemon to sweep through teams with. Number 2, Crocodile. Can I just say this Pokemon has like one of the best names in existence? Like, Crocodile. You have to say it with an accent. It's Crocodile. It wants to suck your blood. Crocodile was another reason I began to like ground as a type in Generation 5. I also really began to appreciate dark types because of this mod. Yeah, sure, I like Umbreon, but so does everybody else, and you know, that's the only reason you like dark types. But Crocodile's where it's at. Crocodile is a fun option since it can lower the opponent's attacks or raise its own attack with its abilities Intimidate or Moxie, depending on which one you want to use. Crocodile is an interesting mod since it changes colors from its pre-evolutions, and it has a really shiny. But while redesigning shiny Pokemon, I made my favorite shiny with Crocodile, and it's just stuck with me for a long time. Crocodile also has a great utility with its move pool, and also has solid capability to be used in several different ways, which makes me really like it too. Number 1, Gastrodon. You saw this coming. You had to see this coming. I have mentioned a lot of competitive Draft League in this video, and it only makes sense for my first mascot to behold a very special place for me and taking the number 1 slot. Gastrodon is my favorite Generation 4 Pokemon. It also has a weird quality for me of I like the East Coast form, but I hate the West Coast form, so I don't get that. It's probably just the color scheme for me, and I don't like pink that well, but that's probably what it is. The forms do nothing to the stats though, so if I can choose the blue boy, I will choose the blue boy, because he's better. He's my squishy. I like the ground water type as a typing in general, so naturally this was an easy favorite of mine. I've had great success using Gastrodon as well as an absolute defensive unit on many teams. One of my first attempts in VGC even, so kudos to you, Gastrodon, for holding it down. I also like its kind of derpy expression on its face. It kind of looks sad all the time and like it's gonna go meh at you, but so it kind of makes me like it for that reason too. Gastrodon just holds a very special place for me, and that is why it is my favorite ground type. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my favorite ground types. Let me know what your favorite ground type is in the description, in the comments down below. Not the description, but you can check out the description to check me out on other platforms such as Twitter, Discord, and Twitch for more ways to stay connected and as well as to see live content. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it helps us out here on YouTube's ever-changing algorithm. And that's all I've got for you today, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I'm Chaos, signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.